Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Impressions video, and today we're going to be talking about a game that's out for you guys already too. This has been out for a while. I just picked it up recently, like 2 months ago. Um, and that game is this Grand Kingdom. Grand Kingdom, it looks like a Vanillaware game, but I'm pretty sure it's not. It looks a bit like a Vanillaware style kind of game, but it works in a way where if you where it's kind of a strategy RPG, action RPG, strategy action RPG. I don't know how to explain it. That works in lanes, like what the hell am I thinking of? Code of Princess is kind of like this, where you're jumping back and forth. It's like the most recent game, obviously Guardian Heroes, but like Code of Princess looks kind of similar to this in a few ways, but it's turn based and not action based. So like you have your rows. You're on these lanes. Enemy characters are on the other side of the lane, and every character moves in turn, so turn based. But like you have to do action kind of stuff. There's action combos in the turn based. Um, I'll talk about that more later. But basically, it works. It's interesting because like the main stage is basically just a map. You're working on a map, and it feels a bit like a board game sometimes, where you're just kind of like moving along set spaces on a map, and eventually you'll run into icons of something. They usually look like knight pieces from chess, and you'll run into them, and a battle will start. And then you'll go to the stage with the lanes, where you'll so have your party come out. You have, I think, a maximum of 4 characters in your party. It might wait. No, I think it's 4 characters is the max. It's been I haven't played this in a while. Um, I just forgot to make a video when I finished it, which was like over a month ago. So 4 characters is your max. You can have less, and some characters take up 2 slots. So if they're bigger, um, but you'll go through. You have you select your party and you fight characters of a certain level. And usually the stage character, the enemies you fight on the stage, the level is chosen at the beginning of the stage. So if you level up, the enemies won't. And for the most part, you get, you know, as you get stronger, you can start beating the enemies easier, I guess, in the stage when you're fighting them. For the story stages, anyway. There's like other things where the levels kind of match yours no matter what. But when you're playing um, the game has this kind of a it's got this story about like warring warring kingdoms. Like imagine like there's a big island and there's 4 factions that are fighting to take control of the island from each other, but there's 4 of them, so they're like constantly fighting back and forth between all 4, and nobody can get an upper hand. And basically your group is this kind of um, like a mercenary group that has been hired by somebody to, I'm just trying not to give spoilers. You've been hired to, help fight in some of these battles. And you can like there's like kind of a main story where you're doing this like a big overall quest, and then after that finishes there's like more main story where you can choose one of the 4 factions to help in a party to like kind of continue onwards with how the game works. So you're playing through when you play through the game, you start out with like certain classes, but as you play through the game and you fight different classes in the game, you can get more characters into your party. So you can get more types of characters, and there's a bunch of classes. I want to say there's 11 classes in the game, and it's fun. They're all good. Well, all the ones that I could play were good, but it feels a bit light. Um, there was a bunch of classes in the game that are DLC only, which it leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Um, and when you can see them in the kind of recruiting section all the time, they always show up and they always look awesome, and they're always like got the best stats. And it feels like a little off-putting when you see that. Um, but then it feels like there really should be more classes in this game. It feels like they they should have had a lot more classes, like double the amount of classes, or like 20 or so at least. It seems like there were a lot more things that were um you know, like how in Disgaea there's you when you start getting classes, you can start recruiting monsters and things like that. It would seem like in this game they could have just reused some stuff, like just okay, give us the option to recruit a trained monster or something to work fight for us because the enemies have monsters. Why can't you have monsters? So it's not like the monsters won't work with the humans because there's obvious examples when you fight. So and everybody is mercenaries, so they're like no different from you. There's no reason why they wouldn't be you wouldn't be able to fight the fight with monsters. So, but you don't get the option. So I feel like you know it's kind of a missed opportunity for this game, and it it sort of does lessen the experience because after a while you know you have all these slots to make up new groups of characters, but you'll find that like oh well some of these classes aren't as good as other ones, and then some of the other ones you know you're always going to be using, so like you have a very limited range of parties you're going to be making. And it's not to say that it's not fun, it's just like it takes away a lot of the things that could have been more fun. So you could have given this it could have been a just a better game. Like I feel like if they make a sequel to this like Grand Kingdom 2 with a lot more classes, it'll be a better game. And you know when I played the game though it's fun to a point, and I'll talk about that. So when you play the game you have the option to go through the story. So there's a story and all of the stages have a certain kind of I don't know a level you know like a level recommended level to be playing the game for your characters. So like you know you okay this story mission has a recommended level of 15 or something, and you'll go through, and if you don't have and obviously because you have multiple characters in multiple parties you might not have any characters at a level 15. So you got to be like well you know if I do this I'm going to get crushed, so I have to do some other things. So there's lots of side quests you can do. Sorry, and the side quests are custom tailored to your levels. So like if you level up, the requirements for the level will level up. So you can't like find a level 1 side quest and be like I'm going to use my level 15 characters and just blow through this. Sorry. Should have a drink nearby. I think I do somewhere. Yeah, I do. Sweet. So when you're leveling up the characters, you know those side quests level up. The story quests don't. So if you were like wanted to be a jerk, you could just like do side quests all day, and be like level 30 or something, and then just start the main quest, and they'll all be like level 1, level 2, and you'll just blow through them. It'll make the quest thing really easy. But you'll find that like another like a flaw with this game is that you'll find that the side quests are very similar every time. So you have a certain thing where there's like basically a 4 or 5 types of missions where it's like okay you have to kill this certain person, you have to kill this many of some certain thing, or you have to collect this certain amount of resources within the time limit, or you have to sneak to a certain position without fighting any battles. That's basically all your missions, just in different locations, at different levels with different enemies. That's basically how the game works. So you'll find that as you know, when you're doing it at first, you realize, okay, there's only this like certain small amount of mission types, but it's fun. And you know, like how you fight the enemies is different because depending on the stage, the enemies will be completely different. So it becomes fun, but towards like the end of the first part of the story, you start to feel like, this again? I can't believe I'm doing this again. And it starts to kind of grate on you after a while. So like, you know, towards the end of the game, it starts to feel repetitive. And that's a downside, but like getting there is fun. So I feel like even though it feels repetitive towards the end, like even when you're doing it a million times, like the same kind of battles, it feels good because you can do it different ways with different parties. And you know, it's not bad. I'm not like I know I feel kind of coming off negative about this game, but I actually really enjoyed it. It's just that it it feels like my disappointment comes from the fact that there's so many little things that could have been changed to make it so much better. Like it could have been like such a great game, and it ends up being like just like uh pretty good. And like, would I recommend playing it? Yeah, it's still fun, but I really hope that a sequel comes out that fixes like just the small things. Just give us more classes that aren't DLC classes, obviously. Give us more types of daily quests. Give us more, you know, types of things you can do. Like, um, there are kind of different kinds of quests online. There's an online kind of element here where you can go online and fight battles between the kingdoms, and you can join up with a certain kingdom and you'll get certain quests from that kingdom. And they, I'm trying to think of how fast they go by. Maybe daily the totals change for the each thing. And it's funny because on the Japanese servers, like there's two men kingdoms run by men and two kingdoms run by like um busty women. And like the busty women countries are always the ones that are winning, because like every all the goofy men are always like, yeah, I gotta join these hot girls countries and not the brutish looking the guys. So it's funny. That's like my imagination as to how people are picking their classes, because I was like, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be on this red team. This giant hulking dude is gonna totally be smashing everybody. It's gonna be awesome. And then I joined up and I was like, oh, this is the worst one. Nobody picks this one. And I just assumed like, oh, that dude looks strong. It's gonna be the strong country, but nope, not even close. That was the worst one. So so you can switch. Obviously, you can switch every time the battle total leaves changes. You can switch to a different country, but it feels like everybody is one or the other of the female ruler countries, and not the male countries. Those ones are always like losing every time they're losing. Um, but like it does in the game. It almost feels like it's going for a kind of smartphone esque kind. Not that you could play it on a smartphone, but it feels like it's going for smartphone esque kind of reward systems in the game too, where it gives you bonuses for daily logins and stuff like that. Where you'll, if like keeps a mark for each time you log in, and you get like this kind of bonus or whatever for logging in this many days in a row and that kind of thing. And that feels a lot like kind of smartphone applications do that all the time to like kind of get you to keep opening the app. And I don't know why Grand Kingdom does that, because it doesn't need you to play it every day. There's no reason to play it every day for the company anyway, because it's not like it's ad supported or anything. So it's kind of a weird design choice. Like I don't dislike it. I just think like it's weird because it doesn't offer any like benefit to the game. I mean, when I play a Vita game or I'm playing an RPG, like I'm not gonna play it for more than like 2 weeks, like almost for most cases. Like I think like Etrian Odyssey 5 I played for like almost a month, but because I wasn't playing it every day, I was just playing it like on my lunch breaks at work almost exclusively. And but Grand Kingdom I bought 2 months ago, and I was like on vacation then, and I bought it and I was playing it every day, but I was playing it for like a couple hours a day. And I felt like, well, I'm almost done with this story. Like, well, I'm not gonna like keep playing this game after I beat it. I'm not gonna like. I mean, I wasn't so hot on like I guess I can do the same quest online every day. Like that's not exactly the greatest kind of game design unless you're like playing on a smartphone. Whereas, again, I feel like I'm being overly negative about this, but it's kind of like I just wanted it to be better out of love. You know what I mean? Like, when your friend is doing some stupid shit and you just want to be like, dude, stop doing that stupid shit, because you're generally good, but you're fucking up. And that's how I feel about Grand Kingdom, because like overall, like it's a game I'd be friends with. You know what I mean? Like it's the kind of thing where I'd like it, but it keeps fucking up. Um, and I'd still recommend it. Like that friend who's fucking up. I'd still say you should be friends with that dude to other people, but I wouldn't. But I still want to tell that guy to like, stop doing this stupid shit. Do this slightly differently, and you'd be so much better off. And that's how I feel about Grand Kingdom. Like, it feels like a slightly missed from greatness, and that it's not a disappointing game, but it's disappointing that I feel like with just a little bit more, it could have been so much better. Even if like the quest types were more like 4 quest types, man, that's harsh. 6 would have been. I mean, it's like plus 50% more, but like the variety there would have at least added something, because like some of those quest types, like the sneaking ones, awful. I hated those. I hated doing those. It's like an annoying puzzle, and sometimes there's like lots of teleporting and shit where you're just like, who knows where you're gonna end up? You're just gonna end up right in front of an enemy. You just have to restart. It's not like done in a way that's exactly like a stealth game. It's more just like kind of trial and error to figure out how you're getting through this, and it feels bad. So like often I'd be skipping those, which leaves you like only 3 types of quests. It would have just been better if there were more. And that's like the kind of the end note for Grand Kingdom is that it just needs more. It just needs more of basically everything. And it doesn't necessarily need more game, like in terms of how many quests you have to do. It doesn't need that. It just needs more of all the other stuff, because in lots of cases it feels like I'm doing too many quests. Whereas like the leveling is not exactly fast. It feels like you're doing the same quests a bunch just to grind up some levels to then go on to the story mode, which will then jump a couple of levels, and you have to go back to doing more daily quests. So it's that kind of thing where if it just had a little bit more variety in characters, a little bit more variety in the types of battles you would do, a little bit more variety to, the online stuff, it could have been so great, and I would have been raving about how great this game is. Instead, I'm here telling you like it's good but flawed, and good but flawed is still good. Um, and it's the kind of game that like I would recommend. Like it's the kind of thing where I would say give it a shot. It's kind of like a game that people will overlook because it probably won't get such great reviews. I didn't check the reviews for Grand Kingdom. Maybe they're awesome, but my guess is that they're probably not so awesome. Um, but and I could understand why, but I wouldn't say like, oh my god, this game got a 6 or a 7 or something. Don't play it. It's still a good game. It's just got some flaws that are not overlookable, but it doesn't make the game unplayable. It means it's a fun game, but it could be better. And I hope they make another one, and I hope it does get better, because again, I'd like to see it. But I think that's all I got to say about Grand Kingdom. I don't think I talked much about the actual gameplay, but whatever. If you got questions, I'll answer them below. But I think this game probably has a demo. You could just play it yourself. Um, it's out for you guys. It's not. This isn't a Japan exclusive anymore. So yeah, that's about it for Grand Kingdom. So I will talk to you guys next time.